Hey guys, welcome back to another video. I wanted to kind of explain, what the fuck explain this video? Sometimes when I start painting, most of the times when I start painting, I don't actually have like this perfect crystal clear plan of where it's going to go. I just kind of want to get into it. I'm more of a doer. I just want to jump into it and kind of see where it goes. Oftentimes, I just kind of let the paint process guide the results. And there's just kind of some basics that I stick to when I'm building a painting. So, I'm not going to get too far off a track, but because I don't plan a whole lot and I just kind of let the painting unfold, that can lead to really interesting results. But the other thing can happen too. Sometimes really awful things can happen. And I got to that stage on this particular painting. Right at the stage, I'm looking at the painting. I've got some heavy acrylics down. I thought I was going to do this really heavy, blocky, cool, expressive thing. And it looked terrible. It just looked fucking terrible. So, I started grabbing some rags and some sandpaper and I just started removing all the paint that I could. And because some of the layers had started drying and some were still wet, I kind of ended up with this really interesting visual texture that I could have just thrown away and left it. But I kind of saw it after I started scrubbing old paint away and I kind of saw the potential in something new. So I switched to oil paints and I started just sort of reblocking in some of the areas and started working on the highlights and details just like I normally would. And it just kind of happened to work out that the initial painting that I thought was kind of going to be this bold, expressive thing turned out, it just looked terrible. So I had to scrub the paint off. But because I couldn't scrub all of it off, that ended up kind of being like an underpainting that gave me a really good guide for the finished work. And in that kind of in between part where it looked terrible and I didn't know what to do, I figure, well, what's the worst that could happen? I could just keep painting and see if it materializes. There's nothing wrong with that. That's generally how I like to paint anyways. Just keep going, see it all the way through, because you never know. Because I think results like this can actually really surprise you. In the middle or in the beginning, things can go really, really, really terrible, and you can scrap it and start again. But sometimes you end up with such an interesting middle ground result that it's actually really cool if you just kind of push through, see it the rest of the way through, and just see where it goes. Not every painting has to be a straight line. Sometimes the paintings are a little bit more illustrative. They just have this really direct path to the finish line. And sometimes it's just about, let's see what happens on the canvas. Let's take some of the mistakes and failures and use those to your advantage to make something unique each time. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Probably.